Fantastic.
All right, this is Kobe with the Phoenix Hip Hop Podcast, and I'm super excited to have a few people here. I have Unorthodox. How you doing today?
Hey, how you doing, bro?
I have Salute. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
I have in the background LaFlo.
Yeah, we got Doctor in the house, Dr. LaFlo, Nick McNeon.
And then we have some. You want to introduce the folks that are off camera?
Yeah, of course. We got my man Arnhem over there holding it down with some additional camera work. You know what I mean? Also one of the main producers here at Rarified Air. You know him and LaFlo, Arnhem, and then our boy Satan, who ain't here today. That's the only missing member of Rare Air right now. But yeah, he's the main producers of Rare Air right here.
So this is a good segue, natural segue into what. Tell us what is Rarified Air.
So Rarified Air is just it's a collective. It's it's what we all come together under basically. We're all solo artists. We've all been doing our thing, before we all connected and met each other. And yeah, it's just a way to, come together and support each other. Like I was making a lot of music with LaFlo back in the day, like 10 years ago, back when he was in Florida. He only just pulled up to Phoenix like a couple months ago. I finally was able to get him out here. But we were just making music through like SoundCloud together like 10 years ago, shit like that. He was like the first producer I really worked with. And then I ended up getting connected with Salute out here in Phoenix. And through doing some ciphers, podcasts, shit like that.
Shout out Nick Norris.
Yeah, shout out to Nick, Hip Hop House. But yeah, basically I had a bunch of, through my work with LaFlo, I had a bunch of these beats sitting around that had like, maybe I wrote a verse to, or maybe I hadn't gotten to yet. And I didn't really have anyone that I didn't really have a partner that I was like rapping or creating with or whatever. Mm-hmm. I had LaFlo, but he was on the other side of the country. We never even met, never spoke on the phone, no nothing like that. Everything was just like email back and forth, you know what I mean? So once I connected with Bro, I was like, yo, let's try working on a project together. So naturally, I was like, let's use these LaFlo beats, you know what I mean? And that's how Fly Us in the League 1 came together, you know what I mean? Which was all just recorded, at my parents' house back when I was staying there. Yeah. Like, I was still like a teenager, you know what I mean?
Very organic, because we were actually doing a podcast before that, and that's how the name kind of stirred in, like Fly Us in the League, you know what I'm saying? Because we were doing a sports podcast, and it was a 3-man weave. But we were the flyest motherfuckers, you know what I'm saying, in the league. Our podcast. Yeah. So, you know what I'm saying?
That was the intro.
Yeah. So, and then that eventually became our kind of like...
calling card, you know
exactly,
what I mean?
Our brand and what we kind of like want to push forward, a certain prestige.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the origin. That's kind of, it wasn't even Rare Air yet at the time, though. It was just me and Salute, you know what I mean?
Figuring it out.
And then there was LaFlo. By the time that we recorded this album, I had still not met LaFlo face to face or nothing like that. I didn't meet him until way like after we was already working and everything. But then once we knew we was working a lot with LaFlo, then I ended up connecting with Satan, who produced the majority of this latest project, Fly Us in the League 2. Mm-hmm. So at that point, it was like 4 people. So I was like, all right, I feel like we need like a name for like, how we rolling and operating, you know what I mean? So yeah, we came up with Rarified Air, Rare Air for short. And then not too long after the inception of everything, we ran into Arnhem over at Trill, and he was kind of looking for something like that what we were doing. You know what I mean? People that were trying to do talented people that were trying to do some dope shit together and help each other out. And shit.
Bro was actually doing some shit also though. He was fucking with us on the live scenes too, because that's actually how me, him, and Satan met up too. And like we were just shooting the shit before I even heard his production. Going back to what we were kind of saying off camera, where like if I gotta be able to kick it with you before we can really like, you know what I'm saying? And Bro just was a genuine motherfucking cool man of many hats. You feel me? So like, you know what I'm saying? It was just real organic. And this motherfucker, I mean, he hasn't done much since, but you know what I'm saying, when he decides to actually jump back on stage, he shuts shit down himself. So shout him out too.
So let me ask you. So it sounds so you work with LaFlo before you met him in person, right? Is that accurate?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, 100%. Like then you for almost 10 years.
Decade deep.
You met him in person. Eventually, I wanted to ask you like how different is it working with a producer or even another like rapper that you feature on a song? Remotely versus in person, and like what do you maybe lose out on doing it remotely?
Honestly, with the way I work, I bet Salute would have a very different answer for this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know Arnhem would also, but I'm very kind of like solipsistic in like the way I work, in that like I'm more. If you give me a beat in the studio, 9 times out of 10, I'm taking that bitch home and like working on it on my own time.
Okay.
And, like, at my own speed, at my own flow, because like I never really know when creativity strikes type of thing. You know what I mean? Like this motherfucker, he'll come and like that. Like that's basically how Flyest in the League 1 went. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where these were like I would basically like pen together a verse, you know, on my own time, and then he would come to the studio, and we still largely work this way.
Yeah.
Was I would have a verse ready or whatever. He would come to the studio. I would play him the track, and then he would usually just write his verse on the spot and just like do it. So, and I feel like that probably comes across in like the way we rap a little bit. Whereas like I'm very like technical and like methodical and like wherever, you know, rhyme goes and this and that. Whereas his is much more like he's just coming from the chest. You know what I mean? Like it's like it's how we feeling that day. You know what I mean? And we both gonna give you that shit, but it's like I think that's part of why the chemistry works. You know what I mean? He's gonna just like hit you over the head a little bit more, and I'm gonna be a little bit more tactical with it.
Have you ever been in this scenario where like you know other people are coming up with things on the spot and you feel like you need more, like how do you manage that scenario?
Bro, she was just with us in that scenario.
Okay.
Did you see me rap that night?
Well, I didn't know the context. No, but I didn't see you rap that
exactly.
night.
No one saw me rap that night. Nah, Kobe came to a studio session with me and Salute.
Yeah. Making the same song for 2 years. You niggas weird. I see you niggas strange. Wasn't one of these niggas from back in the day.
And the Halal Boys and Recco.
Yeah,
and
shout out Lotus.
Yeah, and the Lotus as well. Exactly. Wasn't gonna forget you, but. Yeah, no, like I'm just like I like being around. Like I said, since I am so like kind of on my own when I create and shit like that, and even growing up, like the whole time I was writing raps as a kid, like none of my friends was on that shit. I didn't have no one to show shit to. So, to me, I'm just like cool, like being around that environment. I'm seeing other people create. Like if something comes to me and I want to do it, I'm gonna do it. But like a lot of time in that moment, I'm just kind of living in the moment type of shit.
I got
like,
you.
If they're doing their thing, then if something strikes. But I'm not. I got plenty in the chamber. You know what I mean? So I can always come back with my own shit. If it's not gonna be this record, it's gonna be another one.
Hey man, they said Prime M took 2 weeks sometimes to do a verse. All right.
Yeah, bro.
So
yeah, it's hearing anecdotes from rappers and artists. Like it's always interesting. Like someone will say like they worked on something for a long time. Other people like, man, I did this amazing thing in 10 minutes, and I never. I mean, obviously there's no one right approach, but it seems like it's different for everyone, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I always say what the saying is. It's an art, not a science. You know, for a lot of shit, because you know you can never put your thumb on exactly how this shit rolls, man. You just kind of go with the feelings, bro. Follow your gut type shit.
And for me, like even for me, it's not like that all the time. Like I know for a fact, like one of my favorite joints that I want to say 2 of my favorite joints probably. Yeah, that are on this new album. The my joint Deep Down, both my solo tracks on there, Deep Down and Sons and Four. Both of those I remember just like I didn't take much longer to write those than it took to like perform them. Okay. Like I probably did those in like 30-ish minutes or some shit.
So so Sons and Four was a shorter, like it took you less time, because that was very complicated.
A lot of my best shit comes like that, where it's like I be doing it and it's like in the moment you like don't even. It's almost like you don't even know how you're doing it type of shit. Especially when you go back. In the moment you kind of do, and then you go back and you're like, yo, how did I even put this together? But those two, like, yeah, those come together real quick. So that's why I don't force it. You know what I mean? It's like, if I might get the whole long 32, 48 bar verse or whatever in like 15, 20 minutes. Or it might take me a couple weeks to get you the 16 for a feature you wanted or something like that. Because it's like, I just let it come to me as it comes to me type of thing. You know what I mean? For the most part. So
yeah, before we started, I was talking about that. That was one of my favorite songs on the project, The Sons of Four, because of
thank you.
Your just like the sort of rhyme patterns that you do. I'm playing like a little sample now.
I don't think y'all stick what I say. All of my music I trick when they lay, but now I'm preparing to go on astray.
You don't normally rap like this, do you?
That's my thing. I always like trying different shit out. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that was kind of the idea with this. And if you notice, like by the end of the track, I'm kind of rapping more like in my normal style.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Where I'm like, Phoenix summer's hotter than Louisiana's magic Q's and P's and man, and moving P's and Q's and bam, a rival family feast to fam, and not just when like all that type of shit. Like I kind of ended up like back in my because I did it for like as long as I felt like I needed to. Like I was like, I'm not gonna do the whole track like this just to do it. Like they just like kind of reached the point. I was like, nah, it's time to. But it's real subtle. Like when you listen to the track, you almost like don't notice that I go from like the triplet flows like back to something a little bit more traditional. You know what I mean? I tried to make it kind of seamless.
Yeah, for me as like a nerd fan about all this stuff, like I love hearing people that I listen to like do something different, right? Because like I was on the way to I forgot where we were on the way to, but we were listening to it in the car, and like as soon as that track came on, I was like, what the? I was like, I wasn't expecting that at all. So it's cool from that perspective.
Oh, thank you, bro. Yeah, it's one of my first times messing around with my ad libs a little bit more. Also, you know what I mean? That was some of the last shit we did for the album. Was like I had that joint, but I was like, I know this needs ad libs, but I was procrastinating on it. I was like,
I think you see that. I think you see that in our music too, because we are always looking to try and add more to the artillery. You feel me? Because that's how you become better. You know what I'm saying? You got to add that versatility, or you just gonna fall back. You know what I'm saying? I think we've seen it many a times. Motherfucker make the same song over and over, and then what happens? You feel me? Like
yeah.
So like this is the one time where it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Nah, you gotta fix it up a little bit. You still gotta renovate and shit. You know what I'm saying? Dress it up a little bit. Go to Amazon. Go ahead, get you some curtains or something, my nigga. Like something.
And he's all about that. I mean, that's the thing though. Is like when I was working with Salute, I'm not brought him into like my world of like style or whatever, but I'd say it's like it was the overlap in like the Venn diagram. You get what I'm saying?
Put more of a focus to it for sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like he would know about like when we met and started, because like I said, we got to know each other over a couple months before we started working together. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he's from North Carolina, you know what I mean? Yep. And I'm from Phoenix, but I have a little bit more of a New York kind of background with my family and shit. But he grew up on, you know, all the super southern shit, which I did a little bit also, but he was up on, you know, we love Jeezy and fucking I mean not Jeezy, but like the like real trap shit. What was like some of the I'm trying to think, because that shit I like also, so that's like a bad example. I mean, but basically he'd be on some of the real ignorant trap shit. You know what I mean?
I ain't gonna call it ignorant.
Come on, we can call it spade a spade.
But folks is giving they hood tales. You dig what I'm saying?
But he would be on the trap type of shit. He'd listen to all that type of shit. But then he would also know all the MF Doom records I know, and he would fucking. You know, his favorite, some of his favorite producers is Ninth Wonder, like from his hometown and shit.
Oh yeah, gotta respect.
So he knew how to do the shit that I was doing. He like knew how to do that. So I'm like, yo, you can come over to like my side and like we can fuck around on common ground over here, because I'm not gonna know how to, put some hooks together and fucking do some more melodic shit or nothing like that. So I say this to say is like what you hear on fucking Flyest in the League is like bro's got whole other bags that like he dips into. He even just did a whole album with like also with Satan, but also with our boy Dankdalish. Who plays instruments, who does guitar, and so there was a lot of like instrumentation on that one. It's basically like him like rapping over like a band, basically.
More of an indie vibe.
Yeah, definitely more of like an indie vibe to it. So he really be all over with it. So we're definitely all about trying to like switch shit up and like not just keep striking iron over and over again.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Do you when you guys are working on something like a collaborative project, do you? Whoever does like whichever verse is it, you just accept it as is, or have you ever had a scenario where it's like, no, like I wouldn't do it that way? Or, like, do you give each other feedback, or you just sort of like, nah, you know what you're doing? And,
all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we give each other feedback. That's really why that's kind of where the partnership came from. It was like through me knowing him, and like because we were doing a podcast together, and it's weird meeting someone through a podcast because usually you do a podcast with people you already know. But we both got brought on as co-host on a show kind of similar to this. Yeah. So we was meeting up for like every week talking for like an hour or two, and I started to realize like, yo, this dude's like real open-minded. This dude's real like he's open to nuance, this type of shit. Like, it seems like something that would be like good and easy to work with, and like yeah, exactly. And it's like that was a very accurate estimation. You know what I mean? Because through all of our projects and everything, if it's ever oh, I just want to rap on this track, I think you should just rap on this other one. Oh, I think you should switch your verse a little bit, any type of shit like that, and like vice versa, you know what I mean? Exactly. And when I'm doing shit like Sons and Four and shit where I'm stepping out of my comfort zone like a little bit, like
you could hear me at the end. I was woo.
You know what I mean? You hear us in the studio and shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, you hear him at the beginning. Like, get it again. What you say? Get it again. Like he's like, no, you gotta need a better one. And then when I finished it. Yeah, fucking you hear him, and it kind of cuts off like that in the studio because I literally hit the space bar as he was fucking dapping up and all of that. So it's definitely a very very open flowing partnership that goes both ways. You know what I mean?
You mentioned something about like, you know, Salute knows more maybe or knew more about like hooks and choruses and stuff like that. How important is it to you all? Because like for me, I actually like I don't really care about choruses because I just like verses, right? And lyrics. And sometimes there's songs where the last 2 minutes is just a repeat of the chorus. And I just skip it, and my girlfriend's like, "Hey, why'd you do that?" I'm like, "Well, because the verses are over."
There's dichotomy right there, though.
But that said,
no, that's me. I want everything you said. I'm like, that's me. That's me. I just want to hear motherfuckers rap.
So how
usually?
So knowing that not everyone, you know, thinks like us. Just out of curiosity, how important is it to be able to put together like a hook and a chorus?
I mean, I guess that's really just like subjective.
Yeah.
I mean, there's tons of people that, you know, it's not going to be for everyone, but it's going to be for someone. But not just because you do it. You got to be doing it. Whatever you're doing, you got to be doing it. You got to be doing it well, and you got to be doing it differently. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I mean, everyone in this room, we've been listening to, you know, rap forever, and it's like, I mean, for me at this point, it's like I love hearing motherfuckers rap, but I can't hear a motherfucker rap the same way that was like dope back in like 2000. Like if you just go up and you're like rapping like cannabis and shit like that. You know what I mean? Like verbatim, it's like nah, like that was like done like 20 years ago. I would have loved that when I was like 12 and hadn't heard that shit as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like I've heard a million people do that. I've heard motherfuckers rap just about as good as anyone could rap type of shit. So you're not gonna like top that. So it's like you got to do something that makes it a little bit more interesting or whatever. And like, you know, sometimes I do throw a little something in there if it makes sense. Like, you know, it's not really too much of a hook. You might be calling a little more of a bridge, but like Lake of Fire, like the last track on the album where me and him go back and forth at the end.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's like a little bit more of a hook a little bit.
Yeah,
but
where it makes sense. Lemon or Stacks Headroom, same shit. You know what I'm saying? Like we got a little bridge in between my verse to his verse. Just, you know, when we decide to mix it up, like we were saying, it's an art, right? Like it's just the feeling of that shit, to be real. So then some beats, you know, the way they structured it would just like make more sense to do it a certain way for like that 8 or what have you. You know what I'm saying?
And I kind of want to start doing more hooks and shit like that. Not even like for the listener, just from like just to make it more interesting for myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just
That's
like a new challenge. Like,
yeah.
That's what keeps it interesting. You know what I mean?
It seems like it's just really difficult to put them because I like there's so many songs I listen to, like really talented rappers that are very established, not necessarily in Arizona, but their chorus will just be like really terrible. You know, it's just like them like saying something. It doesn't sound good.
It don't come.
That's
off,
my thing.
Yeah, it don't
it's
roll
like,
off the tongue right.
I might try a hook, and it's like if it's not hitting, I'm not gonna put it in there just to put it in.
You can't
know
force
what I
that
mean?
shit, bro.
Yeah.
If it don't catch, it don't catch.
So that's my thing. I just don't think I'm that good at writing them, so I don't do them. But then when I every so often I'll have something come to me. But usually when I do end up coming up with like a hook or something like that, it's usually something that like started as like a verse or part of a verse.
Okay.
I just had like 4. I might have had 4 bars though. I'm like, chill with that chair. But I might just have like 4 bars that I'm like, you know what, that could bear repeating. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? That was catchy enough to where I could run that back once or twice.
Have you guys? So I listen to a lot of rapper interviews, and there's this like famous one with Busta Rhymes. He's talking about how he collaborated with Eminem. He's like, Eminem, you know, send me a verse, and I did a verse in it back, and Eminem rewrote his verse, and they just kept going back and forth in a friendly, competitive way. But is that do you guys have you ever heard one of each other's verses and been like, I need to change mine, or does not come up with you all?
I feel like that shit's different enough that like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
I think
that's kind of why it works. Like I said, what I alluded to earlier is like we're just bringing different elements to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because like before that would happen, we would want to change our verse personally ourselves for all the, you know what I'm saying, the obvious reason we just don't think it's up to par yet.
Okay.
So, and then that goes back to also the feedback of once we do, then we got the feedback of just, you know, hey, do this here maybe, or do this here maybe. And then, you know what I'm saying, that's really how we put together the pie, you feel me?
Yeah. If anything, we tell each other to do better just based on our own shit.
Okay.
Just on some like, yo, I heard that shit you recorded last week. You know what I mean? That shit was crazy. This one you doing it today? Yeah, I don't think it's necessarily like at that level type of shit.
Yeah.
And if I tell it to him, it's like real easy because like I said, he writes so easy that it's like he don't have this like heavy emotional attachment to every little thing that he writes. Like if it ain't the one, then it's like it's just part of the writing process. You know what I mean? Maybe you have to write a whole verse that you end up scrapping and not even using to get to the one you wanted type of shit. Okay. For me, it's a little more complicated. I mean, that still happens to me, but to me, that would be a little bit more arduous. But for someone like him who could just write, you know, half a dozen verses in a day type of shit, it's like it's not that big of a deal. If it's like, oh, this ain't the one, all right, cool, we'll figure out which one it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because my thing is, I always like to try some different approaches. So with those approaches, we can kind of like see what works. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm always gonna be, you know, I'm making the shit. So if I gotta get it to somebody
100%.
else, and I trust him and his opinion with it. Because you know what I'm saying? Not everybody opinion you gonna be like, all right, my nigga, all right, cool, word, great idea. Never use that shit. Like, but like, you know what I'm saying? You gotta have a certain group of people. Like I trust bro right here, LaFlo. I trust Arnhem. I trust my boy right here, Corbin. You know what I'm saying? And I trust Docs. I trust these motherfuckers with their opinion. So, you know what I'm saying? You got to keep that circle, you know?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
And to be fair, also there are times where it's like one of us might say to the other, like, hey, man, I don't know about this one. Maybe you could do a little bit better. And the other person's just like, nah, I like this. And then and there's never been a situation like this. Like, if it was just something, like, terrible that shouldn't come out, then we'd be like, nah, like, bro, like, we need to talk. That's never happened. But if it's like, nah, it could be a little bit better, and the other dude's like, nah, I like it the way it is, then we're just like, all right, cool. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's like, it's your record, or it's your, you know, contribution, or whatever it is. Like, we trust each other. Yeah, because it's like, because we also realize it's like, hey, well, if you like it, then maybe I'm missing something a little bit. And this bitch might come out, and people might really fuck with what you were doing, and I didn't even see the vision in the studio.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to step in the way of that, or he's not going to step in the way of that type of shit. So that's what I mean. It's a real, like, and I feel like everyone in Rare Air kind of, like, has... You know, we're all, like, very easy to kind of, like, work with, and we want to help each other out. So that's kind of, like, the basis of the collective, because it's not just, like, a group where everyone's working together all the time on every record. Like, you know what I mean? 2 of the tracks on Flyest in the League 2 were done by producers not in Rare Air. Same with Flyest in the League 1. Like, that'll always be happening. We're always working with other producers and other artists and shit. But it's kind of like we have this base, you know what I mean? That we always know that we kind of got each other's backs, have each other's best interest, and just want to help each other elevate, you know what I mean?
Yeah. How do you work with other? So we were, I was talking to Salute for a while we were waiting for you guys, and we're talking about how like fragmented everything seems like in the local scene, right? Like 100%. A lot of people don't work with each other, and maybe sometimes it's for a good reason, but a lot of times it seems related to like an ego type of thing. So outside of Rarified Air, when you find yourself working with someone else, what does that look like? Like how is that established?
It's usually pretty organically. And upon that too, it's also like I've met, like I said, shout out Lotus, man. I found out bro made dope music through just the show that we happened to do together. Then we happened to link up at his studio, and he ended up being cool. Cause like I said, my process is I gotta be able to be cool with you organically. I met Arnhem, like you said, we were like at a live setting, and I remember we were just drinking at the bar, smoking a little bit, talking some shit. Docs, we didn't even, like he said, man, we did a internet podcast, and then we did a sports podcast. We was already just kicking it. So that's my process for sure. So it's like, I don't know, genuine connections, organic. But also, like you said, though, you gotta let that ego go. I'm always open to work and listen to folks. But you gotta come organically, and you can't be all pressed to like want to do some, like just like some shit for content.
I got you. Okay.
Be artistic with it. Be genuine.
And shit's got to be good. Like,
It's got to be good.
I'm not going to just like work with
There's
the
a
homie.
standard.
Yeah, I'm not going to
There's
just
a
like
standard.
work with the homie because it's the homie type of shit. You know what I
Okay.
mean? If also one of my homies decides he's rapping next week, that don't mean I'm jumping on your track, like type of shit.
Yeah.
I might record you. You know what I mean? You might be like, oh, come to the crib. You can fucking, I'll help you out. I'll support you. But it's like, nah, it's not like, oh, now you're on my album, like where I'm trying to like make the best body of work possible for not only the audience but for myself, you know what I mean? Some people are different in that regard, but it's like you got to be my homie, but you also got to be. Actually, you don't even got to be my homie because I work with people who I don't even, like I said, I was working with LaFlo when we wasn't homies. We ended up becoming homies type of shit.
Yeah.
So, to me, it's always like content first, basically. But if you're difficult to work with, then
That's the problem.
Then you're difficult to work with. But a lot of the time, if you just getting a verse from someone, if it's just like, yo, you send someone a dope beat and they want to rap on it, then it's like personalities usually don't have to come, too much into play. You know what I mean?
How do you? I mean, way different contexts. But like, with this podcast stuff I'm doing, like, there's a certain type of, hip hop I'm trying to highlight, and then some people reach out and they're super nice, like, hey, I want to be on the podcast or whatnot. Doesn't necessarily fit, within it. And also like, I don't know how to deliver it in a way that's like kind, I guess. But how do you tell someone you're you're cool with? I'm not gonna be on your album.
Well, it was more of like a hypothetical. It's not like I have homies that are just like. I mean, almost
Okay.
everyone. Almost everyone I'm cool with is like.
We don't have to say no names on nothing, but I'm gonna tell you there was a situation where we have had to be like a point where it's like we're not really fucking with the sound on this, so we won't jump on this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like it's like we just be straightforward with it, man.
Yeah.
Like, cause like why beat around the bush, man? We both here, like we looking for the best interest in this. We gonna let you know this may not be up to par. We probably feel like you could even do better.
Yeah.
But like, just gotta tell you straight up.
Yeah, if it's a show or a record or just whatever it is, it's just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm just like not really rocking with it. But yeah, like me personally, like I was gonna, like, I mean, almost all the people I know, thankfully, or I don't really have to deal with that a lot because almost all the people I know, it's like LaFlo, it's like Salute, where it's like I got cool with them already knowing what type of time we were on. Even Corbin, who like, I met through doing, a show over at Rebel Lounge forever. Like, even he's nice with it, you know what I mean? And he's just starting to get busy.
Beast.
Yeah, he's like, you know what I mean? He's just starting to get busy with it and shit. So like, yeah, everyone I know, they tend, like, that's kind of where we come together, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I got cool with Arnhem. I was like, yo, your beats are dope. Like, fucking,
I feel like that just comes through when the filtering process is just us kicking it, though, for real shit. Like,
Right.
if you want some, like, whack shit, and then I tell you want some whack shit, you can't take that.
It's real recognized
You know
real.
what I'm
Oh, okay,
saying?
yeah.
That's what I was saying with lesser words, you feel?
Real recognize real. That's what it come down to.
I got you. I recently on Instagram. It looked like you guys were in like the LA area or in California. Is that where you guys?
Yeah, I was just out there.
Where were you guys doing out there?
What was that?
What were you guys doing out there?
Well, yeah, we played a show out at Melody Lounge.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we was out in LA. We got linked up with Beat Cinema out there. Yeah, played a little.
Shout them out.
Yeah,
in Chinatown.
Yeah, over in Chinatown and shit. So yeah, we was just over there, mixing it up, seeing what LA's hitting for. Played a little show, and hopefully we'll get back there soon. You know what I mean? But we're definitely trying to get a little more active out in like LA and San Diego and shit. 'Cause we kind of plugged in over in like Florida and New York and shit. But that's hard to swing out there all the time, type of shit. So
I got
it's
you.
like, we want to try to get something a little bit closer to home and shit.
Okay. The other thing Salute and I were talking about earlier is just like how crowded the Phoenix area is. Like how many rappers there are. I've been listening to hip hop for a long time. Haven't really been trying to understand the local scene only like the last 6 months really. And before that I was like, yeah, there's probably like 100 people out here doing this, right? But no, it seems like I'm following 1,000 people right now.
Yeah,
And I'm not even following everyone. So a couple questions. One, like, what is I want your sort of view on the local scene, but also how do you even market yourself? Like, how do you distinguish yourself or even get out there when it's so like flooded, right?
The cream typically rises to the top.
Yeah.
Once you start putting yourself into those positions, put out your videos, put out your songs, make sure you getting out here and rubbing these shoulders at these places that you can. Granted, and in the situation where we are, it's not as much as you would like, but that's part of the process. Also, I mean, yeah, it's the rap game's just oversaturated in general, right?
Yeah.
Everywhere. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I would say it's easier here than it is in most places.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's a double-edged sword. It's more wide open, but it just it lacks infrastructure. It lacks stuff
The
like
foundation.
It lacks what we have.
Right.
It lacks what we're doing right here. Where we got people like yourself that are actually, bringing attention to artists in the scene and trying to highlight people and shit. Because there's really not a lot of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with DJs, record labels, any of this shit. If you look at like what does Phoenix lack that all these other places have on like. As a city, not just like individuals. It's like, who do we have out here that's been a radio DJ for 20 plus years and is connected to the industry? And, like, no record labels have come from out of here. No, there's not really any like legendary venues or anything like that. And I mean, it's because Phoenix is a very newly developed city. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Most of these other places that you look at,
Just start.
even once you get outside of New York and LA and shit, when you look at Philly, when you look at, Atlanta, like a lot of these places, New Orleans, it's like they had other music scenes before they even had hip-hop scenes. You know what I'm saying? It was already, like, there was already artistic shit going on over there. You look at the Bay, they had, the Beat Generation out there. They had, all the political shit that they had going on. Whereas, like, there really wasn't shit going on in Arizona until around the Around the time I was born, I got this motherfucker popping. You know what I mean? Set it off.
Yeah, as soon as you arrived, everything changed.
Exactly,
right?
you know what I mean? But it's like, yeah, it wasn't really into, I mean, you could debate that it didn't even really get super active until the past, like, 10, 15 years type of shit.
Okay.
You know
Yeah,
what
I've seen
I mean?
a lot of development
So
since
it's
I've
like,
been here. So.
and the problem is since it's a newly developing market, everyone, all the people with money that are either trying to do business in these other places or are doing business in these other places, now they can go into a new market where everything is much cheaper than all these developing places, and they can buy up the real estate, put their chain bars in effect, have all this like Fox Concepts type of shit when it comes to like restaurants, bars, all this type of shit. It's why we don't really have a lot of local shit and local venues, and everyone knows COVID made that shit way worse because of like so many local businesses got lost and shit. So it was just like easy pickings for all of this shit. So yeah, I mean that's part of the struggle out here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Since it is so newly developed, it's like it's hard for we have an arts district, but it's not really like we have all these places that are like historic that people have memories at that are attached to, and you know so many people are transplants. We don't have that history.
Yeah.
So it's hard to start building one in the 21st century now. You know what I mean? In corporate America or in capitalist America. You know what I mean?
Someone I interviewed like last month, they're like, yeah, there's other places like Atlanta where people get behind each other and sort of like, kind of promote, their peers and all that. But Phoenix is so like, it's so competitive from an ego perspective. But I have no idea what local rap scenes are like in other areas. You guys have a much better perspective than I do. So in your opinion, like, are there areas, whether it be Atlanta or LA you just went out to, do you find other areas are more supportive than Phoenix when it comes to like peer support?
I say one of the most supportive places, honestly, was another kind of a smaller market where we was over in Florida, So like it just depends on the community you come across. I feel like, honestly, when we were in New York too, we got love, man, from a whole nother collective as well, and
we got love everywhere we go.
Yeah, so it's like it just depends
real.
on the people that you would have to come across,
I just don't think that's the issue in Phoenix though. Like I think more of the issue is more like all the things that I just chalked it up to versus like at the end of the day, it's like it's kind of like I was talking about earlier about how like us artists need like an actual like end consumer and like an outlet to like a listener base type of shit. It's like it shouldn't. It like only so much can be on the artist to like build everything. You know what I mean? Because when you look at most scenes, they have. I'll say it again. People like yourself who might not be like creating music themselves or actively pursuing a career, but they care about the scene and they want to document it. Like every scene. If you look back at fucking when hip hop popped off in the '90s, fucking Village Voice was covering this shit. People in LA Times there was punk zines back in the day or zines or whatever, you know what I mean? There's always been that element, and that's what's lacking out here. So to me, I think it misses the point a little bit. Or not to say that anyone here is, but fucking overall, you hear a lot of talk about, oh well, there's beef and there's egos and there's this and there's that. I'm like, that's just human. Like anywhere you go is gonna have that. Yeah. And there's always, like I said, I've been able to find people that are supportive and cool. Is it hard to find those people? Yeah, but I chalk that up to the fact that it's like you don't get to go out that often where you might meet these type of people. Whereas when we go to these other cities, there's shows popping off, not every week, but all throughout the week. They don't wait for Friday and Saturday to get it popping. They got shows on Wednesdays and Thursdays and Tuesdays, and people are just out doing shit. So we can go out to one of these places and in a week meet as many people as it would take to meet in like 6 months out here. You know what I mean? Okay. Maybe more, because there's just so much going on, and since there's so much going on, everyone else knows each other and they tell you where to go. And it's just like, it just moves so different. Like even in a place like West Palm, which is like, a fraction the size of Phoenix, but it still feels like it's connected to something like much bigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, for me, as someone that invests a lot of time, like actively trying to understand it and even find shows, like, it's very hard. It's very hard to find out which shows are going on. I had someone DM me today, like, "Yeah, I'm doing this show today." I was like, "Wow, okay." I had no idea, and I follow them, right? Yeah. And so I don't know, like, is it? Do you see that from your perspective, as far as like, there's really no one place to go to understand what's happening, right?
Yeah.
Facts.
I mean,
that's really what it is. Yeah, fundamentals.
That's why we used to try to do a lot of like throw our own shows and shit like that. But as of lately, it's just kind of like it just seems like more work put in than like we're getting out of it. You know what I mean?
We'll be the centralized
when we could like be working on, we could be working on another album. We could be shooting a music video. We could be, going and trying to do shows in different cities for people that don't know us as much. You know what I mean? Versus
And then be open-minded to individuals like yourself that come across and start to open up this platform, and then let you into these studio sessions and kick it with these other rappers, and you see how shit, you know, can flow.
Yeah. One of the cool things about being, doing my podcast here. So on Saturdays I do these interviews for like the hip hop festival or whatever. But also there's two recording studios in here, so there's always people coming in and out, right? And so from a networking perspective, I see like there's people that probably would never work with each other if they just heard each other's music. But then, someone is here at the same time and they meet them, right? And like, he's a nice dude, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just like, then I see them actually working together, right?
Right.
So it feels like just like meeting someone in person or just seeing them as a human first versus like hearing a song, right? And then making a judgment makes all the difference, which goes back to saying like, you don't really find yourself working with people that you don't have like a rapport with, right?
Exactly, because it's hard to get that across and keep that connection with a person. Because artistically, I feel like that comes across when you make genuine music and not just like some cookie cutter bullshit.
Yeah.
And you'll definitely get something new, some new inspiration or something. That's why it's always great to have different kind of minds around you.
Yep.
Yeah.
So for someone like myself that wants to find more, I guess, artists like in the realm of what you guys do, right? I remember aware of like Halal Boys, and some others, but like, what like do you have a recommendation like other than what I've already been doing? Like how do I find out about other folks like you?
Man,
there's really not a way right now.
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, to just keep it simple. That's why we need we need shows like this. We need more shows like this. We need people putting on showcases. We need, and like I said, it can't all come down to the artists, and that's kind of why we fell back from it, because it was like, it shouldn't really be we're down to try to throw some shows and do this and that when it's not as much of like an uphill battle, but it's like at the end of the day, artists are supposed to be focused on being artists. And we try to do as much as we can. We're already doing all our own videos, recording all our own music, making our merch, doing all this type of shit. It's like it can't really be also on us to try to create this like ecosystem like for everyone else. You know what I mean? When we're not really in a position of power like that.
It's gotta be a community.
It's one thing once you have some people that actually start to get on and they can have a little bit of leeway and have a little bit of leverage out here, then I know we'll definitely pay it forward, and I hope other people pay it forward. Some people will be like, oh, it's not my responsibility, but I'm like, I don't know. If you came up through the city, then it's like, I don't know. I think you should pay it back a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's like when no one here is in that type of position, then it's like, everyone's like, you kind of got to get yours before, and you're trying to get yours, but I'm trying to get mine type of shit. And it ain't on no competition. It's like we can come together and help each other, then great. But if it's us having to go out and book a venue and promote it and, do all this different shit, then it's like,
Yeah.
It should be on other folks.
Yeah. It seems. I see the whole spectrum, right? Like I talk to people like, no, it's just about art and music, and then there's the other spectrum, like, well, if you're not making money, like what's the point? And then there's everything in between. Where are you guys on that spectrum between the extremes, right?
Yeah, you should be. The people who make the best art are going to be making art whether they're making it or not.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's how I feel. Yeah.
Like Arnold, would you be making beats if you wasn't making no money off of it? Yeah, like LaFlo, would you still be making music if you know what I mean? Like, like if you just in it for that, then that's honestly the problem. That's why shit's oversaturated. Because like for fucking decades, hip hop has pushed this narrative of, basically the American dream of like blowing up and, getting money and all of that, which makes sense because, it comes from impoverished people who really did live out the American dream, and now they're flexing that they did it. But the thing is it's such a broad, like it appeals to everyone. You know what I mean? It's become, it's not a hip, because that's what I'm saying. It's not a hip hop thing. It appeals to everyone. So you have a lot of people that's what draws them in. You know what I mean? It draws them in that they see a bunch of people who come from really terrible backgrounds be able to somehow make a whole bunch of money, seemingly doing very little. They don't play no instruments. You know what I mean? A lot of these motherfuckers, they don't even be rapping at their shows. They just be, playing their vocals in the background. A lot of this shit. So it's like if you're an impressionable young mind, then it's very easy to look at this and just be like, yo, why don't I do that? Little do you know, if you're really trying to get some money, you'd be better off doing damn near anything else.
Yeah,
for sure. You know what I mean? It's one of the hardest areas
to
to get money, and you only see the motherfuckers that are real successful. But when you're 13 and you're just on TikTok and shit like that, you don't think about that. You know what I mean? For the most part. But
some of the top motherfuckers even tell you there's no money in this shit no more.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's like you got to be doing it. Yeah, you got to be doing it for the right reasons, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's really to that point at this point. It's so oversaturated.
And like he said before, cream rises to the top, like usually.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, I mean, until I started doing this, I never realized like how many are in it because of the aesthetic or like the idea of it, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen people where I'm like, wow, they have a cool aesthetic. They look like really serious about this, but then I hear their music, I'm like, okay.
Bro, and it's so easy
That's
to
not
do
what I
here.
expected.
And it's so easy to do here because we're not in Atlanta where like there's motherfuckers really doing it.
Yeah.
You feel me? We don't got T.I., we don't got Luda, we don't got like the Migos, we don't got none of that shit. So if you just kind of look the part, like that's usually enough for most people, or at least, I don't mean like to get on, but in terms of like you can at least get what you wanted out of it if you're going to turn some heads and get some fucking little social media clout or something like that.
Yeah,
it ain't gonna go a damn place. Like it's not going to go nowhere.
Yeah.
But it's just funny seeing it out here where it's like it's just the bar is so low. Like I was talking to LaFlo, it's the same thing with like the bars in Scottsdale type of shit. Like he just moved out here from Miami. And it's like I was showing him like what all the bars in like Old Town look like, and he was just like so appalled because he's like, bro, this is all just like the same bar. It's just like big titty blonde girls with like bottles, and it's just the same one every time. I was like,
it's very cookie
I was
cutter.
like, bro, that's all you need here. As long as you got blondes with bottles, there's really a place called Bottle and Blonde, but it's like that's all you need. Whereas like back in Miami, you can't just pull up and do that. It's like, bro,
Miami,
we've
no.
been doing
The
that.
level is-
You got to bring some more to the table
Yeah, the
than just like
level
some
is high.
alcohol and some attractive women. Like you got to be doing some. You got to have the attractive women dancing with fucking anacondas or like have fucking pyrotechnics. Pyrotechnics in this bitch. Have fucking a lit rapper coming through. It's like, nah, you don't need none of that in Phoenix, bro. You just gotta just give them the minimum and like So there's a lot of people
The bar is way different.
they take the same approach to their rap personas. You know what I mean?
I heard someone describe Scottsdale as the Miami of the desert, and having grown up in
That's
Florida,
gross.
I was like, Miami is way different than Scottsdale.
The Miami of the desert is Miami, Arizona.
Yeah,
That's a place.
Okay, I didn't know that.
That's a place.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Even we don't know about that. No, it's way the fuck out there. There's Miami, Arizona.
want
There's
to-
no reason to be there. No reason to be there.
Shout out Miami.
Shout out Miami.
Shout out Miami,
Both of
Arizona.
them. East side and west side.
Someone, hopefully the one rapper from Miami, Arizona will hear this, and he'll pop out.
We'll wait for the response.
Salute. The other day you released, and I don't know. This is part of my question I want to ask you guys. Like, it's like a mini visual for one of the tracks off Fly Center League 2.
But ironically, the dark side's the meanest, dress the cleanest, move strategic, get the team wins. That's all it's all about.
And I started noticing that last year, like, even like pretty famous rappers, they'll rather than do like a full-on music video, they'll create maybe just like a short visual. And I only started noticing that last year, but I wanted to ask you guys: is that like a recent thing, or have I just not noticed that?
As far as like the little animated shit with it, or are you talking about
I
the
think it's
one
talking
where
about
we was rapping?
when you was outside.
When I was outside rapping?
Yeah, like I first noticed Puya doing that, and like he was actually doing it like on songs that were released like 5-10 years ago. I'm like, what is he doing? But then I understand like, oh, okay, this is just a share on Instagram for people who haven't heard it, right?
Okay.
Is that like a more recent thing, or has that always been around?
It's something that we just we more so put a focus on it, like as of, I say kind of like almost about going into a year, like where we like started doing more, like we even have it on our YouTube page, you can check out, where we have like on the spot freestyles, or like we have it on the IG where you just we'll do a quick freestyle on the I was sitting on the wall on one of them, and then like just basic had the lyrics down there, give you something to vibe to and be able to comprehend what I'm putting to you.
Yeah.
So
It's just kind of some TikTok type of shit.
just some
you know?
quick
I
shit.
got you, yeah.
We put
That's what it
more
seems
focus
like,
of it.
yeah.
'Cause it's like a lot of people, they don't need a whole, high production music video and shit
Right.
like that. Your average viewer, and it's like as an artist, you're not doing a high production video for every song you do.
Yeah.
That's gonna be widescreen format for the people on YouTube when you're trying to get people to YouTube in the first place type of shit. You know what I mean? So it's like those are just easy where you can kind of crank them out for every song. It's just a little trend, like, you know what I mean? Who knows what people will be doing. You always gotta be one step ahead of the curve.
Yeah,
so.
and you know how visual everything is nowadays. It's good to have that. Like I said, had the lyrics down there, really easy to digest, even with the shit we telling you, because we still giving you bars, so you really catching them, and then you can do that with like pretty much any type of, like he said, a phone. You can do that with any area.
Yeah.
So just utilizing what you got.
Do you think so? Do you ever think like how visual it's become? Is it ever a bad thing in the sense, like, because when I was a kid, I would listen to rappers. When I first listened to Jedi Mind Tricks, I thought Vinny Paz was a black guy.
Test Vinny past patience. I crack jaws and swing swords of the ancients. Y'all pretended to overstand the matrix.
And then finally, I'm like, what the? And so, for real. And I remember I bought what's the first album? Is it Violent by Design? But I bought I bought the first album where I had like a CD-ROM that I could watch the music video, and I was like, wow, like how
change your perspective.
And someone was like, hey, because if you look at what Vinny Paz looks like in his first music video,
All the feuds to find my life is more confusing than a Rubik's cube.
you would not think that's what he sounds like. And some,
It's like Patton Oswalt.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, he looks like. Yeah, that's very accurate.
Looks like Patton Oswalt after a fucking few years in the Bing.
Yeah,
Yo, that's wild what he's giving you.
I feel pretty confident with the assumption that there are probably people that liked his, the way he raps, but had they saw him, they'd be like, oh, fuck that guy. Anyways, that gets back to that's like a preface for the question. Like, do you think the visual aspect is ever distracts from the music in any way, or?
I think it can, because a lot of people try to gloss, like he was saying before, they try and gloss some shit up so that they can still package you a piece of shit. You know what I'm saying?
It ain't nothing new. That's what fucking MF Doom's whole persona was built on. 20 years ago. Over 25 years ago. So it's like, yeah, it's just kept evolving. Like, he saw it 25 years ago, but, ain't nothing changed. So it's like, you roll with it a little bit. But it's like, I don't know, like for us, like, we don't really dress nothing up for the camera or nothing.
Gonna widen your horizons. I be riding, whip aside, and then storm them in the iron, try and make them pull the iron.
And it's just part of what
you know what I mean?
I think
we just happen to be the flyest in the league, you know what I mean? So like we just make this shit look easy, like, you know what I mean?
Prestige, brother. That's all it is, just prestige. That's why we have a certain standard and a certain bar for this shit. And that's basically what I would say as far as it's two ways to take it. They can package you some bullshit, but at the same time, when you can put that into your branding and put that as a part of who you are, and then that's another outlet artistically you using. And that's practically what you can see in a lot of our videos as well. You know what I'm saying? Shit we may be interested in, and we don't necessarily rap like trap, but you look at Draco at by the bedside, you can clearly see we got some trap elements to that video cutting with the rotoscope and all of that shit. So you know what I'm saying? We just have our ways of artistically, putting our shit out visually. I feel like that's a good way to do it.
You make a really good point there. Yeah, so as far as people that see this or listen to this that are not familiar with you, you guys just released the project Flies in the League 2.
Yeah.
I know I stopped by that Friday to hear the other stuff that you guys are recording with Reco. Anything else that you guys are doing or have worked on recently that you just want to plug?
Yeah, I mean, we got a lot of stuff that's going to be coming. We got a couple music videos that are going to be dropping. We got the Jordan Worthy video dropping. We got a whole new project we're working on with a producer from France. Yep. It's about to be, it's March time, so it's about to be March Madness. So we're going to be dropping some new singles, new videos, you know what I mean? And every year we kind of try to go a little crazy during March, dropping lots of pieces of content and shit, whether it be music videos, new singles, all of that. So that's what we on. But yeah, we just trying to put this one out, and then we just kind of on to the next one, because it's not really about coming out of Phoenix. You can't just be putting out one, even 2 albums a year and expect that to really make an impact. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the global context of things, you gotta. We're trying to be, exactly. That's why I'm like, I'm not even gonna be like, oh, it's on the hush, because it's like by the time this, we a month or 2 from now, it's like, we're gonna be on some whole other shit.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, we always got new shit we working on. Oh, but probably the next project that's probably coming out, it's probably gonna be Arnhem's joint. Probably gonna be Arnhem Palmer. You know what I mean? Okay. Yeah, that's the joint. We got the Halal Boys on there. We got of course we got me, LaFlo, Salute. Yes, we got a couple surprise guests, couple unlockable characters that are gonna be on there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that'll be dropping real soon. That should be dropping in a month or so. That'll be the next release from Rarified Air.
You mentioned something that I want to ask you about. When I was a kid, it could be years between an album release, right?
Yeah.
And that was very normal. And now there's rappers. I listened to this rapper. I don't know if you guys ever heard of. He goes by Khan, but it's Kaan. He's really really good. But he'll release 3 albums a year or something like that, or multiple singles within a few months. What is that? how is that for you guys? Like, is that like a lot of pressure to like continue to put stuff out and rush things, or because you don't want to rush it, but what does that look like for you?
It's a balancing act, really.
I mean, yeah, if you're looking at it, that's the thing. You kind of just gotta have blinders on, and it's more like, I mean, I know what we're capable of. Like, I don't want to have just, when I see what other people are doing, like I said, it's not even like a competition thing. It's like, oh, I got to keep up with them. It's more like, yo, if they can do it, I can do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, if they're able to make this much high quality content, if someone's just dumping a bunch of bullshit, then I don't care about that. You know, that don't affect me. But if someone's actually putting out a lot of, you know, like seeing the run that like Griselda went on and shit, where like between those members they were putting out, you know, fucking 4 to 6 albums like a year, and it was all very high quality, very consistent. Look at someone like Currency, Larry June, these types of people. It's like, all right, shit. Like, you know, by the time I'm, you know, however many years from now or whatever, I want to look back and be like, yo, I have this many like pieces of work that I can kind of stand to my name. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's what it's really about for me. And I think that shit just really just picked up because, like, you know, just, like, you know, you don't have labels that want to promote an album for, like, X amount of years and do a tour and do all this type of shit. So it's like, I think it just kind of went that type of direction. And obviously it was better for the consumer. Everything just used to be tailored around the way the industry works.
It's more accessible now.
Yeah, now that the industry ain't really, you know, there no more, it's not really what dictates things. Artists just started putting out as much music as they wanted, and you started realizing, you know, and me as a listener, you know, for us growing up in that type of time, it's like you start to realize, oh, damn, I guess it doesn't necessarily take a whole, you know, year to make an album or whatever. Like, you started to realize, it's like, damn, these people can do it. If Wayne can put out this many mixtapes of fucking, you know, whatever it is.
Thousands of songs.
Yeah, exactly. So I just kind of want to live up to that. It just motivates me to want to like just keep up on my personal level. And I feel like that'll just reward the listener, and you know, if I'm rewarding the listener, it'll reward me. Like, you know, in the long run, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. What's the for both of you? What's the thing that you're most proud of creating? Like, is there any like one song or verse you look back and you're just still to this day you're like really proud of it?
You know, honestly, I like the Destroy and Rebuild verse, and what's funny about it is
Destroy and Rebuild or Divide and Conquer?
Nah, Destroy and Rebuild. Okay. Shout out my man LaFlo.
Yeah.
I was about to say, because it was something it just came together so organically, how I wrote it to when I recorded it to when we did any type of content. It's just like always like one of my favorite ones to perform. It always gets the best response. I don't know. I have an attachment with it. I appreciate it. Thanks for that, my brother. Yes, sir. And also, though, the other one as well, Divide and Conquer, is actually one I think of as well, though, because I didn't like it first, like a long ass time. And bro, he talked me on to keeping it on there.
Yeah, we did the reverse of what we talked about earlier. He didn't want to keep it, and I was like, nah, this shit's solid, bro. Trust me. Like,
and what's funny, and then what tipped me over as well, is he sent his homie. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Billy Woods, man. And motherfucker, he complimented the verse, and that's what sealed it for me, bro. And it's really like. And then when, like...
Without meeting you either. That was the first thing he said to you when he met you.
That's the first thing. So I was really, like... It really put me into it. So I was... And then once I listened to it a couple more times and I really just felt what I was coming with, bro, I don't know, man. I haven't found that pocket again, so that's why I really appreciate it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. It's one of those... It grew on me even type shit.
Yeah. How about you, Unorthodox?
I think 2 of those joints that I did... I think my 2 solo joints on Flyest in the League... On Flyest in League 2, I should say. I think those are 2 I'm pretty proud of. You know, just some of the, Deep Down and Sons of 4. Okay. I think just some of the different, like, pockets I hit and some of the wordplay and shit, like, that's, like... I feel like I could put that there with, like, just about, like, anything anyone's done. If we're talking just, like, rapping, because I'm not talking on some, like, real deep, you know, life-changing shit or telling no story, but if we're just talking, like, barring out, like, I'll put that there with, like, anyone. Like, humbly.
Yeah, recently, this page invited me to do this like music review thing, like on a live. I've never done one, and they're like, yeah, you know, pay $10 and you know get your music prioritized. So I paid $30 to pick 3 songs, right? To be reviewed, and so I included Meditative Spirit, that's the name of it?
Yeah. Just it's popping like peppercorns, just keep stepping like leprechauns. I react like a leopard with never pressure's on.
That was the first track we did for the album.
Yeah, and
shout out to Satan again, who did all these beats over these songs we're talking about.
Yeah.
But continue.
And the other the person's feedback who hadn't heard it, he's like, man, it sounds like he's rapping in cursive.
Pocket, it for me, the way that he was rapping, it was like he was rapping in cursive. You know what I'm saying? Like he was rapping, and I don't know how to explain it, but he was on a different planet.
I like that.
And I was like, yeah, that's a very interesting way to frame that, right?
That's how I try to make it. You know what I mean? And it's funny. That's like a very like insightful comment, because like for me, I can't go back and really change like a lot of shit in the middle of my verses, because everything is like very connected. Like if you listen to my shit, like even when the rhyme scheme changes, it's like something in the next scheme like kind of connects it to like the one before, to where like I try to make it feel like very fluid and shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like writing in cursive with ink. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So with the quill, you know what I mean?
Cool. Well, so yeah, I know we're gonna you're gonna rap here.
Bro, even LaFlow's gonna jump in. He got some. We're gonna preview some shit from Arnhem's new album.
I try to follow everyone, and so I see, some people, they say they're the best rapper because they're marketing themselves, right? Some people, they say they're the best rapper because they really believe it. And then there's people like yourself, where other people like me are like, man, these guys are some of the best rappers. And I definitely, I stand behind that, and I think it's really cool for you guys to show up here and kind of show that. So I'm really excited to see what you guys do.
Hey yo. Shout out Arnold on the beat. Big Rarified and Docs. Listen. Dry haters don't want accommodators, trying to play us like Amadeus. On my mama, just pay us. My conglomerates of fly players and rhyme sakers, music makers, fine purveyors of all genres. Caught in Dante's Inferno, long days feel eternal. Bombay, blazing herbal, bomb haze in Orillo, chop game from base to borough. Shaded women that was rural, shorty never seen a skyscraper. Spray painted murals, vacation into Europe, that's just something in the plans. I see 40-something states wanna set foot in foreign lands, trying to coordinate my crew to make lasers more advanced. I just got Florida man to plant roots in the sand, bamboozled by the grand plan. Had to show my hand, saw the cards that we was dealt, then started to understand. Undertaking, making statements, this ain't no flash in the pan unless you panning for gold. Manifestos a manifold, I'm a man of action, hold double action, catacombs in case of random interactions. God forbid the hammer blows. Had ambrosia tripping on my embroidery, was born to bear the torch, all the older gods anointed me. If I ain't already the best, and I'm going to be 2.0 or the corner 3. I'm from the four corners, but we need some more performers. Almost everything is corporate, plus we got our own time zone, it's like a separate orbit. Next year for a feature, you gon' need a second mortgage. This ain't Rick and Morty, this rigor mortis, so with no remorse. Big rigatoni on the fork. You like playoff James Harden, I'm like Kobe with the fourth. Showboating, I'm like Obi-Wan Kenobi with the force. Soul floating, even though they don't show me no support. Strictly for my hitters, jump back in a ring like Mickey Rourke. Catch me in New York, mixing the sticky rice with the pork. Hickeys on my neck, Mickeys are the bags, twisted sticky with the legs. All the bitches wanting strictly sex, hit me with the text. Or you get lit up like pyrotechnics. I'm trying to make up for lost time that I neglected. I ain't start rhyming to buy me a diamond necklace, so I can sit on diamond, get Louis V in a Lexus. I'm a perfectionist, it's an illusion that it's effortless. Balboa in the trenches, on the field, 4th and inches. I could tell it ain't authentic, but I thanked them for the interest. It's independent, we was planted just as intended. The Subaru was rented, we painted like a superintendent. The Uber was dented, the hula hooping with the fentanyl. Sherm heads going with wet withdrawal, but I know when I'm gone, I know we'll be immortalized in the aerosol. Arizona Aristotle looking like a Farragut, a Ferragamo novel. This ain't Comic-Con, what I plan is beyond a novel. I aspire on my rivals, but I still pull up to the spot, fire on arrival. Docs. Shout out on him on the beat. Yeah.
That was crazy.
I appreciate it.
So now I'm going to.
There you go.
Yeah, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Just something slight, just previewing a little bit of Arnhem's album right here. Arnhem Palmer coming real soon. But, it's like the Rarified Air cypher in this bitch right now. So I'm gonna be on like my Dame Dash. We got our producer, but he's spitting. You know what I mean? Our producer's spitting better than most of y'all rappers out here. You know what I mean?
Bars.
You know what I mean? Fresh off the plane from Florida. Putting the shit down. We pass it off to Dr. LaFlow right quick. You know what I mean? Talk to him, bro.
Go ahead, brother. Come on. Come to the stage.
Yeah. Let him take that bitch from the top, too.
Yeah.
What's up? All right, yo, shout out to Arnold. This beat is dope, This is nice. Rarified air right here.
Leon.
I used to make beats on the Game Boy camera. Heart made of gold, but it don't pump Fanta. The flow come through with 3 hoes like Santa. Sick of me at the bank, they gon' need my lanta. Real hard to kill like that boy Mike Myers. Put on a mood ring and the shit caught fire. Show me the world, I'm a frequent flyer. I got love for sale but can't find no buyer. Broke up with my bitch, she said I'm no fun. Cause all I do is make beats and watch F1. I got a high fee, I do my own stunts. If it don't bring me peace, then I drop it and run. Doc LaFlow, back to living trippy, man. Yeah, we might get along, but we ain't the same. Rick James never lie about cocaine. Read a book and blow your mind like Kurt Cobain. I was in Jamaica, had my Reeboks in the river. Fuck the bitches like DoorDash, I always deliver. Look a stranger in the eye and they do a little shiver. Tried to say this wouldn't work, well I beg to differ. It's real basic, just grab a quad and face it. You're too scared to try, give it here, don't waste it. Shots of overproof, say cheers, don't chase it. Had to stop getting wasted or I might don't make it. Baby, we could live forever if we just get this guap. I will not be moved and I refuse to stop. Smell what I'm cooking, but I ain't the rock. My kitchen's open late and the doors never lock. I can't stand y'all like Christopher Reeves. You never know what LaFlow got up his sleeves. It's that dope shit, I give it to you like a disease. Put that money on the dress and she dropped to her knees. Tripping off the shit that made my skeleton glow. The universe is putting on one hell of a show. I met this bartender that can squat 304. She took the Molly and the blow, made an X and a O. The moon's in my eyes, my mind's running free. You fucking with the best if you fucking with me. I'm with Docs and salute, bad news come in threes. They tried to find my flaws, but there was nothing to see. The first revolution's when you change your mind. Second revolution's when you fix your grind. Third revolution's giving sight to the blind. The fourth is when you live outside of space and time. Yeah, I said that I would only do 16, but I did the whole thing.
Dr. LaFlow, Nick McNeon in this motherfucker,
right
big Rarified air.
Run that bit.
Salute's time to shine now.
Talk to him.
Yeah, talk to him one time, big dog.
Shout out Arneezy on this one,
What's going off to that?
Off the top,
Okay.
you know. I figured it'd be something to give people a little versatility, you know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
So, as I spit in front of this screen, we can go ahead and turn it to the third dimension. With the way that I'm spitting, I can give you contexture. Hope you motherfuckers get it, man. I'm swinging the lectures all around. You can come, guaranteed I protect you. I'm the real source, baby. Go ahead, respect it. I'ma tell you how it goes. I can tell you how it went, how it should be, but guaranteed we keep it on the low. Come real slow, detonate, guaranteed it's out of control when I get up in my zone. Smoking on a zone, probably here, homie, come over with the chrome if you wanna leave us alone. I guaranteed we succeed with these beats and everything that we ever seen. That was a good catch that she had off screen. Hope you motherfuckers catch, I give you magazines. That could be a clip or that can be a script. I hope you niggas get everything that I spit. I come off the top, I can come off the hip. You keep playing games, guarantee we Listen, I don't wanna go ahead and get it off topic, but I'm the #1 topic, #1 profit, #1 draft pick. If you get what I spit on this beat, so lovely and it fits, just like yo bitch. I can't say it no different. I'm sorry, I'm vulgar when it comes to this. This rap shit is different. I spit it different. You niggas looking different. I can't respect it. That's simple shit. That's simple math, quick maths. Guaranteed, yo bitch, me, her 2 lips, guaranteed it going down. I ain't playing round, spitting rounds every time. You catch me round this town, guaranteed you might wanna follow. Like Pied Piper, I shoot with the definite rifle. You guaranteed, you know I'm one of the best in the cipher. It was me, guaranteed. Rarified unity, this entity be something you need to see for the TV documented. Hope you can just vibe with us one more time. With my man Kobe sitting on our side, shooting like I'm Kobe on my side. Why you even acting hard? Nothing we couldn't divide for this pie. With all of my niggas here, man of the year, we sitting distinguished like Sean O'Connor. Well, I think that was the nigga name. Honestly, why bother? I've been smoking a lot of weed. Guaranteed, I might forget a couple things, but I'm still doing me, and guarantee your head's bobbing currently and confidently. Now you thinking about it, cause you know this nigga right here, you need to check him. We on Spotify, we on Apple Music. Guaranteed you need to listen. Fly us in the movement. That was it.
Yeah.
Manifest the pen, remember with this pen of mine. I only pin her a bitch, I find out. 10 toes down, pumping that shine down. With some hoes watching porn with the sound down. Used to hit the coast, put a couple pounds on. It's a vacation weight, I had the COVID 20. Touch a lot of strengths, and no more sodas, many. Stay fully got her with a lotus in me. Up in the mix, you could throw me the stands. Could go get some work, but that surely depends. The homies just told me you police again.